So when you're seducing women, there should be a desire not just to be a fucker, but to be a romancer. So romance. You want to give this woman the sense that there is more possible with you in the future. And the best way you can do this is by desiring to do this and actively wanting to build a deeper connection with her. Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about what makes a girl choose you over another guy when considering who to have for a boyfriend. So this was a question asked by a Patreon subscriber, and if you want to ask me questions, you can sign up for my Patreon. I'll put a link below for you to sign up, and you can ask me 4 or 8 questions a month, and I give you a pretty decently lengthy response that hopefully fixes your issue. So this client is seeing this girl, and they've hooked up and had sex and have been for a while. And from what he's said, she's pretty into him, and he believes that she's in love with him now. But there's a little bit of a problem in that her ex is still in the picture. Now, those of you who immediately had a reaction of, oh, yes, you're right. For me, if there's an ex-boyfriend still in the picture, it's a pretty big red flag to not pursue anything further with this girl and to keep it just casual. Because a girl who is still somewhat attached to an ex, I used to believe in staying friends with your exes, not anymore. Over the years, I found out that it's very rarely a good idea, and I don't really know of a situation where it is. Are there exceptions? Sure, and I'm sure I'll get a fucking comment of someone saying, there's an exception. Probably from a woman. But it's a hard red flag for me. But he still wanted to know, because you might be in a situation where it's not an ex-boyfriend, but it's another guy that maybe is courting her or going after her, or maybe you've had a situation where a girl has chosen another guy over you. You were seeing a girl, and then she gives you that dreaded text of, hey, so I'm actually getting serious to someone else, and sorry, best luck, go fuck yourself. I've gotten it, maybe you've gotten it, it sucks. And so my client wants to know what's the way for that not to happen, for him to get that text and not him, my client, and he's the one who ends up with her. So outside of the problem of it being an ex-boyfriend, just in general, how do you compete with another man for her heart, right? What makes her choose you and not him? So there's a few components. So there is lust, physical attraction, your sex with her if you're already sleeping with her, your emotional connection, right? And I would call it logistics. When we talk about seduction, when we say logistics, we mean, I'm at a cafe with her and it's 5 minutes from my house. So, when we're talking and have a great time, I'm like, hey, you want to get out of here? And we're only 5 minutes away. It's a much easier yes. I mean, if a girl likes you, I've heard it be said she would crawl through barbed wire to hook up with you. I suppose in the extreme sense, sure, she's willing to drive an hour to hook up with you if she really is that into you. But it's easier when you have good logistics. Like I remember when I lived in my party house for my fraternity in college. It was very easy to get laid because I'm making out with some girl at the party and I grab her hand and lead her to my bedroom, which is 10 feet away. That's logistics. Having time to actually get with her, right? You're on a date and you need to head into work, or she needs to head into work, or some sort of obligation. And maybe you had the emotions and the attraction to then have it lead to sex or more, but more, what's beyond sex? I mean, you can actually go hook up with her, or maybe not necessarily have sex, but something more. But you know what? You're just stuck with fucking coffee because she has to go meet her parents in an hour, right? That's logistics. So in this sense, what I mean by logistics is I had a different client who was in a similar situation. He ended up losing the girl, but I think it was fine because this girl shouldn't have gone after her. But it was an ex-boyfriend, okay? Another situation. It's very bad. But he was from her hometown, and she would go back to her hometown often. She would go to visit her friends, visit her family, etc. So she had there was an ease to getting with him because he was somewhere where she would often go back. That would be an example of logistics in the macro sense when looking for a long-term relationship. It's why a lot of people end up getting with coworkers or people in their social circle, because it's good logistics. It's someone that you're around a lot, and that proximity and friendliness and environmental influence or pressure pushes people in that direction. So logistics, right? So we got attraction, we have connection, and we have logistics. So if you want to be the guy, and if you're gonna get in here and say, oh, you shouldn't compete with other men, yeah, I mean, in theory, and we could go into it, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when you're going after a girl, you are technically competing with either past suitors, current suitors who are going after her and whom she's in some sort of contact with, or possibly unknown future suitors who maybe she had a great time with you today, but then she goes to a party on Saturday night and meets an amazing guy, and he totally sweeps her off her feet, gets her in a whirlwind romance, and he ends up being the guy that she's crazy about, okay? So technically, you are competing with other men. You don't know how many, or if they are even in her life yet, but you are technically competing. That's the nature of the dating market, just as much as she's also competing with other potential women, past, present, or future in your life, okay? So please save me these fucking stupid ass comments of don't chase girls, You're competing with this guy. All right. What makes her choose you? These three components. So how do you beat him in these? Do you need to do your research on him? Do you need to know exactly who he is, what he offers, It could, you could break it down to who's taller, who's got a bigger dick, who's better looking, who's fucked her the fastest. These can play a part. Is it gonna be the thing that makes her say yes to you and send him the sorry I'm seeing someone else text? Maybe, right? If we're talking percentages, right, it just takes that one little percent. But what takes precedence, right? Because you have different perspectives. Like someone more, red pill leaning, as much as I give them shit, they do have some decent ideas, but they just take them, too far, or get too sociopathic with it, or too mechanical or biological or whatever. But there is something to be said of this guy's chasing her really hard and, maybe presenting himself as a guy who doesn't have a lot of options, but then you're the guy who is a little bit less into her. She's more into you than you're into her, so she's chasing you and putting more time. Are you going to be more alpha than him? And is she going to be more attracted to you? Possibly on one level. That might make her more aroused, right? Oh, this guy, I either know or suspect he's seeing other girls. He has other options, so I have competition that makes her want to try harder. I'm really into him. He's into me, but not as much as I'm into him. So that's the person who's more in love. So she's going to feel more connected and lean more towards you. That's one element. But if this guy has enough of a stronger emotional connection, like there's more in common between them, there's more similarity between them, and maybe he even has some logistics, right? Maybe you're in a different city or you're in a different fucking country. There can be 1,000 different possible variables in the situation. He might have this to his advantage, or he's an ex, so she has a bunch of fucking nostalgia and shit attached to it, which makes it even harder to break. He might win based on those variables. And if you lose, who gives a shit, okay, right? But you still want to win, right? Yeah, you shouldn't care about winning, but it's nice to win. So if you are winning in this department but losing in these two departments, you stand a strong chance of losing, even if maybe you're more alpha, right? Or maybe, maybe there's another guy in her life who is the more alpha one, but you've got these things going for you. Then you ask the question of, do I really want to win? Do I really want, to be with a girl who, yeah, maybe we have a better connection, logistics, but she was really, really attracted to this guy? That's a question you have to ask yourself as well. Because even if you win, did you really win? Because then you have to have a relationship. What if he pops back into your life, right? Shit gets complicated, but we're going to keep it just to how do I get this girl in the relationship and have her choose me? So as you probably guessed from me doing this math, just to make it kind of simple for you to understand, you probably want to win 2 out of the 3 departments. If you're winning in 2 out of 3, you're probably going to get with her. If you're winning 1 out of 3, you better fucking win it really, really well. Like Maybe, you know, you guys don't have the best connection in the world. Maybe the logistics aren't perfect, but holy shit, you guys just have this insane sexual chemistry and you fuck her like no one's ever fucked her. You fucked her on the first date. This guy was courting her for months and still hasn't even gotten with her. You know, he's the nice guy beta and you're the alpha, and she's just so into you. That stereotypical alpha versus beta, alpha fucks, beta bucks, it might actually turn out to be reality. And I've seen it turn into reality where either I was the guy too emotional, I know there was a guy who was fucking her really well and she ended up going with him, or vice versa. Maybe I didn't get with her, but she wanted to get with me, right? So you either need to win one area really, really well, or at least get 2 out of the 3. If you have 3 out of the 3, well then of course you're gonna fucking win, okay? So how much do you need to know about this guy? You know, I like to do my research and I like to discuss relationships because it was part of my profession. So it would kind of naturally come up because I was very open and transparent with girls about what I did. So I would learn a lot about these guys. I would ask questions. Is it something you should normally do? I'd say if it comes up in conversation, what might be more informative is her past relationships. What was the thing that made her choose those men? Now, you don't necessarily want to follow in their footsteps, especially if she's the girl who was always with the guy who took a long time and, you know, she's really conservative and they dated her. You don't have to carbon copy what he did, but it'll give you some inclination as to what worked for her last time, and patterns tend to repeat themselves. But of course, you want to be the outlier. The goal with having a relationship, and that's what we teach, that's what I teach, is that you want this girl to just be blown away with you, because anything less than that is kind of shitty. You want to try and sleep with her as quick as possible, because that means in her mind, these other guys are courting her, but she was so into you that she was willing to do what she normally doesn't do and sleep with you very quickly, which is just physical fucking proof of how much she's into you. You want to have as strong a connection with her as possible, because why would you want to be around someone who you don't feel really connected with, right? So there's a winning element here, but of course there's the personal element. And you should remember that when you're watching this video. It's not just a power struggle, there's also a quality assurance situation going on, okay? But back to the competition. Win in at least 2 out of the 3 departments. If you don't have the logistics, they're probably not going to get fixed really quick. You're not in her social circle. You know, you could get into her social circle, okay? Maybe you don't live nearby her. Okay, but how far is it? Are you in another state? Should I do long-term relationships? Again, these are questions you have to ask yourself. But if you don't have the logistics, those are probably not going to get fixed. Those are things that were probably established before you started seeing her. So the strongest, but if you have it, it's a good thing, okay? So you need to work on the emotional and the sexual. If you want to win the sexual, this has to take place before you start seeing her, right? If you're seeing a girl and maybe there's another guy competing, whether you know or not, it's kind of hard to change directions once you're already in it. This is a prevention is better than a cure situation. So when you're going after girls and want to outcompete other men, you want to try and win in the sexuality department, arousal department. You want to be fast and furious and passionate. You want her to be attracted enough to you, which you will learn by watching other videos on this channel, how to be more attractive, how to seduce a woman, how to fuck her really good. You want this to be earth-shattering, sheets-grabbing, banshees screaming, sex chemistry, okay? You want to nail that down. I think that's the strongest because it's the most primal. It's the most reptilian animal brain, so it's going to be the strongest pull. But then what's going to make her think about you when you're not there, not just in, you know, fingering herself at night thinking about you or fantasizing about you, but actually wanting to be around you, is going to be your emotional connection with her. So when you're seducing women, there should be a desire not just to be a fucker, but to be a romancer. So romance. You want to give this woman the sense that there is more possible with you in the future. And the best way you can do this is by desiring to do this and actively wanting to build a deeper connection with her. And as fast and furious as possible as well. It's a whirlwind romance. So strive to give that to a woman. And if you're able to get those two, because again, logistics are kind of just either there or not, if you're striving to be as sexually on fire with her as possible and making as strong a connection with her as possible, if you win in those two departments, she might have another guy who, you know, he's the safe guy who's in her social circle or her work, and he's cute and she likes him, but holy shit, you're just this guy. Even if you don't have logistics, you live in a different country or a different city or a different state, I've made it work because I had these two things, and you'll never know exactly how much he's doing in these departments. It's kind of like his score is hidden from you, unless you're really open and transparent and she's telling you all about him. Probably kind of weird though. If you do this as well as possible, actually, just make a video telling us, just gotta do your best and hope you fucking win. Yeah, I guess I kind of said that if you want to reduce it at the end of the day, but I think I went into enough detail that it gives you a little bit of a clearer picture of what that actually fucking means. But yes, just gotta do your best and hope he doesn't have a 10 out of 10, and, you know, a 10-inch dick and fucking 6'5" and a fucking millionaire. But even if he has those things, it's still possible to outcompete him. Is it gonna be hard? Probably. But maybe he's shitty in bed. Big dick sucks in bed. Or, you know, maybe she's really physically attracted to him, but he's a fucking retard. Like, there's a lot of things that can go in your favor, okay? So you wanna do your best to win in these two departments. And if you just get slightly above him in at least 2 out of 3, you'll probably win the girl, and she's gonna send him the disappointing "I'm seeing someone" text, and you're gonna get the "Can I see you on Friday night" text. All right? Cool. So that's how you outcompete other men to get her to choose you for relationships, because relationship is sex plus connection plus logistics. Cool. All right, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell so you can see other videos on relationships and seduction that'll help you actually seduce the woman, and then once you're in the relationship, actually have a good relationship and manage it well so you two can be happily ever after. All right, I'll see you guys soon. I love you. Ciao.